Hello, I am Bentham and welcome to Factory Town, a game that I decided I needed to play as soon as I saw the name. Because it seems to be everything that I love and everything I'm doing on my channel right now. It's about factories and city building. It's been called a mix of Factorio and Banished. I'm gonna say that considering what I've been playing recently, it's probably more like a mix of Factorio and Kingdoms and Castles. I think both work, really. It's all about sort of the automation elements of Factorio and making things go between places and building stuff and building higher tech materials and things, but then also about building out a town and maintaining the happiness and health of the people in it. And I'm very, very excited. I just was immediately like, I need to go. Like, basically, I saw Avak put out a video on this, and I was like, I need this game. I should go get this game. And then before I even watched it, I was like, checking my email, and just at the time that Avak put his video out, I'd been emailed by the devs being like, hey, this seems like exactly the sort of thing you want to play. Here's the key. So here we are with Factory Town. It's going to be releasing on early access, I believe, in a few days on the 12th of March, I do believe. So you can't get it yet, but there's a Steam page, I think, and you can wishlist that and see if you want to get it when it comes out. I'm not sure how much it's going to be for yet. I can't remember if I was told or not. Probably should have checked that before I started the video, but we're already here. Let's get into it. Let's start a new game. So there's some map generation options and stuff. I don't think I'm going to mess with it, really. This seems pretty standard. It gives you a sort of preview of the basic structure of the map, but there's a lot of different, like, types of game you can play. There's a lot of different biomes you can use, so they're all, like, there's no vast difference between them. It's just sort of how the terrain forms and how the water forms. So, like, we got to foothill canyons. That's more of like a big river down the middle and more sort of big hills and things. And there's Grand Canyons where you just get this giant gap full of water, and you can generate them a few times to get different kinds of map. So there's a few different ways you can do this, but I'm just going to go with the standard one because that seems to be what it's made for, what makes sense. That's interesting. This river is just like a loop. I guess it connects over there. That's how it leaves. That's strange. You get a nice kind of island there. Maybe I'll live on that island. Might do something like that. And there's other buttons and stuff you can change the size and things. I'm not going to mess with any of that right now. We're just going to get into how the game works. So here we go. We'll create the map. Takes a second, and there we go. It's populated the world with all the stuffs. And there's our little base there. And then there's all sorts of trees and rocks and various kinds of plants. There's actually quite a lot of different resources in this. At a glance, I was imagining it a little bit like Kingdoms and Castles, where there's like stone, iron, wood, you're done. But actually, there's a lot of random stuff here. So we've got like grain over here. There's a herb bush. We've got berries, apple trees, and weirder stuff out towards the edges, like mana shards. We get into weird magic stuff when we get far enough out. Earth stones and things like that. So there's a little bit more to this than you think at first glance. But here's our little base, and here are our guys that live there. And basically, we use them to do all the jobs. They go around and grab things and move things around. And it's a little bit like Kingdoms and Castles in that sense of there's lots of tiny little people moving around, ferrying stuff from place to place that have specific jobs that you give them. So we've got a little tutorial along the side here, so we'll just follow this to start with. We've got to gather some wood. So the way you do that is you click on your little workers here, and you can just click on the tree, and it will just it'll go over to the tree, he'll grab the wood, and he'll take it to the nearest location. But also what we can do is if we click and drag, we can tell it to bring it specifically to the base, which is important because there are different buildings that they can take stuff to. So I'm going to order all of these guys to take trees to the base to start with, and we'll just build up a supply of wood. There we go, and so they'll just move up to the nearest tree, chop a bit of it down, take the wood over. And the resources are, they do degrade, you do run out. So after a little bit of time harvesting a tree, that tree will disappear, and they will move on to the next one. So you've got all the resources are finite until you get certain buildings that make them renewable. It's like Kingdoms and Castles in that sense. The Factorio stuff comes a little bit later. Though you can kind of see right now that we've got this sort of production line of people going on at the very least, but later we'll make it into proper production lines. So we need to build houses for these people. So we've got to find a little open space that we can put those homes in. So here's the house button, and we want to find some flat land somewhere I'm thinking over here seems like a nice place. It opens up the further out we go, and it's got some food right here, which is important. We're actually a little bit short on food, I would say, for the start of the game. There's just that bit there and that bit there, and then there's some across the river. Maybe we move towards the island, I'm not sure. I think we'll go this way for now, because it seems like we can just extend out a bunch of houses in this direction, just keep adding more. So let's put one here, and let's have another one straight away. In fact, let's just build like 4. We want plenty. Oh, we're not allowed to? Oh, we don't have enough wood. We'll give them a second, and they should deliver us enough. Takes them a bit of time to gather it. And there we go, 4 houses. So now we can support plenty more people, 12 in fact. So I think it's 3 people per house is how the system works. Yeah, now it wants us to make more workers, so let's do that. We can now make plenty more of them. I mean, we can just make all the ones that we have the capacity for if we like. Though it looks like it costs something to make. I guess it costs some money, and we've only started with so much money. We've got to make sure we're making some ourselves, but that's what these guys are for. You can tell them to harvest grain and take them to a home. They will keep that home stocked up on food, and in return, we get money. I don't know how that makes sense. I guess they're selling it to the occupants or something. We'll go with that. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll just get 1 worker assigned to each house. And that'll be, oops, that'll be a good start. I've messed that up. You stop. Grab grain, put it in there. There we go. All 4 of the houses will now be supplied. They will all generate money, and it will make them all happy. Their happiness is 0 currently. It can go up to 1. And that's whenever they're properly supplied with food and any other things that they might need. The happiness can go above 1 if there are more different things being supplied to them, as will come along later in the game. But now they're all a little bit happy. They're also generating money for us, which means we can hire more people, so on and so forth. Also wants us to build a path, so let's do that. These allow the workers to walk a little bit quicker, so just putting a path along the front of all these buildings will speed up their ability to supply things, and they'll be able to get back to harvesting sooner. Of course, this is going to run out as well, so we've got to make sure that sooner rather than later we can start to have some farms so that we can permanently generate food, because eventually this stuff is all going to disappear. For instance, wants us to build a lumber mill. Lumber mills accept wood and produce planks, which you need for other buildings, so this is our first bit of sort of production. So a lumber mill we want to put near to the wood. That would make a fair bit of sense. However, before we can do that, we need some stone. So let's get this guy over here. Tell him to gather stone, put it in the base. Let's hire another worker to help him out so we get it done a little bit quicker. I don't think we need a huge amount to build the mill. Yeah, just 5 stones, so it won't take too long. It's listed down at the bottom there. So after a couple seconds, they'll have what we need. When you mouse over a building, it shows all the various jobs, so the base is just like, here's the various different people that are filling up the inventory. The inventory is in the top right there. It's got 4 slots currently, but upgrading the building gives you more. So we will run out of space soon, but like I think the stack sizes are like 200 usually. I don't know if it's the same for everything or whatever. We have 1 plank in there. Where did that come from? I don't know where we got that 1 plank from, but it'll give us a start, I suppose. But yes, what I'm thinking is we could put this here, but it blocks the people moving the stone. You do have to worry about people getting in the way of each other in this game, because people can't pass each other if there's not enough space. It seems like every tile has basically like 4 points in it where people can stand. So 2 people can move along, like move past each other on a 1 tile wide road. But if 2 people approach from either direction at the same time, they're going to become blocked, and you also have to worry about not leaving space between buildings for people to move into and stuff like that. So yeah, where can we build this? We can build it back here. It's not really letting us build it up here, but I think that's because there's people in the way. You see it says occupy down at the bottom, which it does whenever there are people or structures in the way. I could order people to move out of the way, but what I might just do is put it back here and have it fed by these trees back here. Then again, we want to clear these trees, so let's see if we can find a place to squeeze it in here. Also, if you build them over water, they're automatically supplied with water. Not that that's something that matters to us right now. I think what I need to do is just delete this little bit of road here. I think that's blocking us from building the lumber mill. There we go, we're allowed to build it right there now. That works. That's unlocked a bunch of new buildings for us. Crate, grain mill, workshop, chute, scaffold, ramp, block, wooden arch, wooden bridge, scaffold, wood bench. And the cool thing is the chutes. This is our first little bit of automatic transport stuff. This is our basic level of conveyor belt. So we can assign a recipe to this. This thing can make 2 different things, planks and paper, but we don't have paper unlocked right now. We want to make planks anyway, so there we go. Currently, all our workers are delivering wood to the base. Now we want some wood being delivered to the lumber mill. So what I think I will do, you could have a worker delivering straight from the trees to the lumber mill, but what I'm going to do is put a little worker right there, and I'm going to say, take wood to the lumber mill. And then, because he's right here, he can very quickly hop between the two and keep the stuff delivered, unless this one random guy stands in his way. I don't know why they're going to specifically that point. I might have ordered that by accident. But he's very quickly ferrying the supplies between, and then we have another worker that we plonk in somewhere. Oh, we're out of population capacity. Okay. Let's see, can we upgrade these houses? We can with planks, however, the planks are in here. We need them to be in here for them to be accessible for upgrading, which is what we're trying to achieve. Let's get one of our woodworkers. We probably don't need quite that many doing that. Please deliver planks to the base. And now these 2 workers are both just going to be ferrying stuff between these 2 buildings. Oh, look at that! They're working in perfect tandem. It's not going to work for long because it takes 2 wood to make a plank, so the plank guy's going to have nothing to do. But I love right now that they're just going in a little loop there. That's really satisfying to watch. You see they've got inventories up there, so we're running through the plank supply. Also, these have a rate of production. They're also run by a worker, so a worker needs to occupy the lumber mill for it to operate. Also, you can add more workers to make it speed up. However, you get diminishing returns on it. Basically, 1 worker in a building has it run 100%. Adding 1 more worker only adds another 25% on top. So you want more lumber mills rather than just putting more workers into 1 lumber mill. But sometimes, if you're struggling for space, you can just throw people at the problem and make the thing work quicker. But there we go, we've now got the option to upgrade the base as well as upgrading the houses, so we'll do that as well. We need a happiness of 4 in order to upgrade, which is why you need to make sure to keep these places supplied with food constantly. They've got little food bars in the top here. Whenever food gets delivered, this bar fills up and then it slowly loses charge over time. If it gets to 0, the house is no longer happy, so you've got to make sure you're topping that up regularly. But also, there's lots of different options. We don't have to be using grains to keep these people happy. In terms of food, we could instead be delivering meats, fruits and vegetables, or dairy products, and they will be just as happy with that. So it's whatever particular food you can supply, they will be happy about it. Anyway, let's upgrade the base, because we can. While we have the happiness, we've increased our limit on how many houses we can have, and we've unlocked the food market, which is going to come up in a little bit in the tutorial. Also, let's go through and upgrade all the houses. And that gives us more capacity. Each upgrade gives an extra capacity of 2, so I think now all of these have a capacity of 5, maybe? Or maybe it's 4 now. A little bit confused, because I think this has a capacity of 4, but I don't know if it actually does. It seemed like it did, and then it's like each one of these is adding 4 on rather than 5. I think that's probably what it is. So yeah, it's like they start with 2, go to 4, something like that. Anyway, the specifics don't matter. When you need more workers, build more houses, upgrade the houses you have, and then you'll be fine. So now we have capacity for 20. So what does it want us to do now? It wants us to make a food market. So let's plonk one of those down. This seems to be our housing area that we're working on here. So this is where our food market is going to go. It's not in here. We got to go to our larger menu that has lots of buildings in it. This game has quite a lot of content in already. I don't know. It's making me wonder if maybe I'm wrong and it's not early access it's going into and it's actually just a final release, because it's one of those games where I think it is early access, but it's one of those games where it comes out, you're like, this is basically ready. Good work, guys. And they're just sort of tuning it up for the ending. I guess they'll probably do some like UI work and make the inventory look a little bit nicer and stuff. And some of the button controls are a bit fiddly right now from my practice run. I was messing up the button. I just did it there. Because the letter keys become hotkeys while you're in the menu, when normally they move you around on the map, so I keep accidentally hitting stuff when I don't want to. Anyway, so buildings, we want to go, what was it? The food market, there it is. This has a range, so everything within this range is supplied by any food that is delivered to the food market, so you no longer have to have a worker assigned to every single house. You can just have workers assigned to the food markets, and then the houses will take from the market. So we just need to put this near the food, and then the rest will be sorted out by the workers. I'm thinking we put it sort of over here, maybe. Yeah, we'll build it right here. and that's covering all the houses for quite a distance. We can definitely build more houses and still be doing okay. And now it wants us to build a grain market, I think. Yeah, it says bring grain, flour, fruit, or other food items to the market, and that'll all work. So we can order our workers to start delivering to the food market. So, no, click you, move, and who else have we got delivering to houses? You deliver grain to the food market. There we go. So now it's got to the next bit, which is making the grain mills. So we go to buildings and grain mill, and this will turn the wheat into flour, which will be, I think, better for keeping people well fed, presumably. So you can see now they're delivering to the market, but every time someone delivers, one of these houses gains money. So the grain mill, let's just build it like across the road from the market. We'll have it a little bit of a wider space, so we've got some room to move around. And so now what we want to do is order them to deliver to this instead. So change of plan, everyone. I need to work out who's doing what. It's a bit difficult sometimes. You deliver there. You deliver there. Who else? You deliver there. Oh, they've stopped. Have I messed something up here? Oh, I haven't given them the recipe. I need to give them the recipe of making flour. So there we go. Now it's making flour, and we will need someone with the job of delivering the flour to the market. So another person, flour to the market, and then when he delivers that, they will generate 5 coins per one. So it works out better because I think it takes, it takes 3 grain to make 1 flour. So previously we were making 1 per flour, now we're making 5 per 3 flour. So it works out. Making more money, that's building up nicely. There's a lot of important things we need to spend money on. And we can keep an eye on the bars and make sure that they're still well filled. I don't know how the nutritional value of the food changes when it's processed. We are working our way through this quite quickly though, so we need to worry about that. Next, it wants us to make a workshop, so let's get on with that. Buildings, workshop. There it is. And this one doesn't have a range. This is just another thing like the lumber mill that just crafts stuff. So I'm thinking we put this on the other side of the base. That said, does it need to be over here for some reason? I'm trying to remember certain things, because there are certain things that want to be delivered to the houses from the production buildings. I think, though, it's just best to add something in here. However, there's not enough room with that tree. I guess we can move it in. We can do the same thing as before. Let's delete. Oh, no, that's the wrong button. Ah, wrong buttons. That one, remove block, remove that bit there, and we'll build. Oh, there's some stairs there. They might get in the way. We'll delete that one instead and build it back here. So, buildings, workshop, there it is. And just put that facing out same way as our base. This has unlocked the barn, the stonemason, the fence, the half stairs, and the wagon for us. Excellent. It also wants us to build a barn. So let's build one of those. That can go maybe out front of here, perhaps. Actually, we could build it over here. This is a storage building, basically. So this is wherever we want there to be lots of people dumping, say, wood into. And here's where I'm thinking. But we can probably instead put it sort of back here. We could even nestle it in there if we wanted to. That actually works. Yeah, it sort of just ends up overhanging the river. But the river will still flow beneath it, I suppose. I don't think the water actually moves around. It's just sort of... just imagine that it does, that it functions like an actual river. But yeah, I'm going to put this right back here, because this is going to be sort of a... If we've got an excess of a material, we just order a guy to start dumping it in the barn. So we can just be kind of out of the way behind the production buildings. Next, it wants us to make a wagon. Now this, we need the workshop for. We need to make wooden wheels. The wooden wheels are what we use to make the wagons, and the wagons are basically upgraded workers, but with a more specific purpose. So more sort of automation-y kind of stuff. So we need to be delivering planks into this building. So you take the planks, deliver them to here. We've already got the produce wood wheels thing set up. So then we can get another guy, and we can order him to deliver the wood wheels to the base. And then we can use the wood wheels for assembling the wagon. So it takes 4 planks to make a wood wheel, so it takes a little bit of a while for it to work, but once it does, when we go to the workers section, there are multiple different kinds of workers, including the wagon. There we go, we can build one. And now it's telling us the next fun automation thing, which is chutes. Chutes are handy ways to transport goods long distances. Note that only some items, mostly natural resources, will roll down chutes. Also, you may need to rotate chute pieces to ensure that rolled items travel in the correct direction when they reach an intersection. So, this is the first kind of conveyor belt sort of thing. They're not like powered in any way, and they're limited in what they can do. For example, the altitude is important, because of course we've got 3D terrain here. Nothing will go up a chute. It will go along a flat chute and it will go down a slope chute, but obviously you can't go up one. So if you want to transport something somewhere, you got to make sure that it's going downhill. Luckily for us, our main base is at the lowest height level, so it means that we can always get something at least to our base. And if we need to take something up a hill, we could always use a person to transport it, or a wagon which can transport more. So the wagon we just built can basically do the same as a worker when transporting, but it can do 4 at a time. So it's a higher throughput rate and it only uses 1 of our population. It does still use a population. But its limitation is that it can't gather resources, so we couldn't tell a wagon to chop down a tree, but we can tell it to transport wood from the base to the lumber mill. So currently I'm not exactly sure what job I should give it. I don't think there's anything that's happening quite fast enough to warrant using a wagon. Also, it seems like wagons take up more space. Oh no, the person just walked straight through. Huh, maybe that's okay then. But yeah, how are our materials right now? We're running out of wood because it's all being turned into planks, and all the planks are being turned into wagon wheels. I'm now going to cancel this guy. We'll just delete him. So I'll still allow planks to be put into here to make some wagon wheels, but we'll allow the storage to just fill up on those and not produce any more. Because I don't want to make a ton of wagons right now, and it's using up all our wood to be doing that. You see our food is continuing to run out. There's more over there that we can use in the short term, but it's going to become a little bit of a problem, quite possibly. That said, there are other kinds of food we can gather. I wonder if there's any fish around. No, it doesn't seem like there are. Because you can find fish in the rivers, and then you can use them as an alternative food source, but it seems like there aren't any. That's a shame. Perhaps we can make like a fishing building later that can have sort of a fish farm kind of thing going. So anyway, it wants us to try building some chutes. I don't know if I need any because I've been putting my buildings right next to each other anyway, but we can do that. It's actually maybe going to cause a little bit of an issue for some of the workers, but we'll try it. So I'm going to build a chute. There's outputs and inputs for these buildings. So the red arrow shows the output, and then everything else is an input, and you can rotate these to get them going in the right direction. It is saying something's wrong with this. Something's wrong with the output. I'm not quite sure what. I was hoping that by building the chute, it would just start... will output an item that's not compatible? Of course. It seems like maybe only raw materials can be transported by the chute, so it's got to be the wood or the crops. So let's do that then. We can demonstrate it with the crops. So we're about to run out, but actually that gives us a good opportunity to demonstrate it with the crops over here. So I'm going to run some chutes out from our grain mill, and then we'll turn it around and send it up to here. And they're about to finish this last bit of grain here. I'll let them get that sorted. There we go, it's gone. So now they're going to move over to here, and currently their job is to deliver grain to the building. They're just finding the nearest grain and continuing the job they've been given. But now I can order them to grab grain and put it on the chute. So we'll start doing that. We've got to work out who isn't doing that again. You. Yep, you. There we go. Put it on the chute, and you put it on the chute. Is that everyone? It might be. It now seems like they're all moving. This guy literally doesn't even need to move. He's just picking it up from right there, dropping it on the other side of him, and the others are doing a similar thing. They're all sort of moving around. They're having to work around each other. It seems like maybe when they're carrying something, they take up a full square, because they're having to move around each other a lot more. But you can see that the grain is just rolling along the chute into the grain mill, and that's helping to sort of automate the process. The grain's being delivered quicker now, which is good. Does mean we'll run out of grain faster, but we might be needing it for keeping everyone happy. We can probably reduce our food gathering rate without causing too much trouble, but we could also just increase the number of houses we have so we're supporting more. Anyway, it wants us to upgrade the base again. For that, we're going to need stone brick. We're also going to need more happiness. So the way to do that would be to either build more homes, so there's just more people to be happy, or to make the current homes happier. I think I'm actually just going to build more homes because we're coming to our limit on workers anyway. But what we could do is deliver one of the second tier, the general goods tier, and that would mean that as long as they had food and a general good, they would have 2 happiness. It can be anything from the, like any one thing from the top list, any one thing from the bottom list, and they'll be at 2 happiness. So a stone brick, planks even, we could deliver those right now, but I'm going to build more homes because we need them. Spin that around and we'll just put them on here, or not. Ah, the wood. I probably didn't pay enough attention to the wood situation, and yeah, we've got nothing but planks now. Okay, guy who's delivering the planks, please stop. In fact, I think that's the guy delivering the wood. Both of you stop. No more production, we've got plenty of planks. Please actually gather some wood for us, because we've messed that up slightly. Okay, and yeah, we need 15, so it's going to take a minute to actually get that much wood. Whoops. But we could speed up the process with chutes, it looks like. So let's do that. Let's move this wagon out of the way. He's not doing anything right now. And let's build a chute that goes to here. And along this way. And I think the potatoes are blocking it that are here. I don't want to get rid of these because they're useful. We can use those to feed people, so that's quite important. I suppose that's where we'll stop it, and it'll still halve their travel time, which isn't too bad. Oh, wrong button. Ah. You to there, you to there, and you to there. And the logs roll down the chute. Even though it's flat, ignore the fact that it's flat. We'll pretend that there's a slight incline applied to it to make this work brilliantly. Alright, we're doing better for wood now. We can at least make one house. Very soon another. Just a couple of seconds. And come on. Oh, there we go. We've got to wiggle the mouse a bit for it to notice that the thing has changed. So I want to tilt down a bit more. You can go completely flat. Oh, we're surrounded by sort of cliffs here. Interesting. Okay. And those are actually parts of the map we can get to. We can buy further regions later on with fairly vast amounts. Well, that said, we're not far away from 1,000 gold, so we would be able to buy a further out bit of land if we wanted to. So those hills and stuff are actually inside the region that we can build in. You can also mess with the height of terrain. At the moment we've got some lovely flat land to work with, so we're not having to do any of that, but when you sometimes find more hilly places and then there's a lot of work making everything flat so you can actually build stuff properly on it. That said, when you try and build something on a slope, it just puts the scaffold underneath it, so it does still work, but certain things struggle, like chutes are going to be a lot more trouble to deal with on slopes and things like that. And people having access to buildings is a lot more difficult. You've got to make sure you've got ramps up to buildings that are on overhangs and things like that. Right, we've got plenty more wood now, we can build more houses. There we go, we're up to the 8 we want, and they will all start buying from the food market, and maybe we have enough food to deal with that if we just click on them. Oh, some of these are struggling for food, like this guy here. Actually getting a bit low on their food supply. And the little bit that this guy got just now is already running out before the cycle has got back round to him. So with the amount of food we have, we might not be... Hello. Some of these guys have stopped. Please continue to deliver. That's why. Everything's slowed down a bit because some of them have stopped. I'm not sure what that was about. Might make more sense later. There's some sort of system in place for that. Might be that they couldn't access the bit they wanted to, or I messed up giving them the orders. But there we go, that should mean we're generating enough food then. Turns out I just wasn't harvesting at the rate that I was able to. Also, we need some workers turning the stone into stone bricks, or whatever it is that they're made into. So... Actually, or is that the case? Hold on. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons again. What is it? Yeah, it's stone brick that's needed, so we need to be making that in a stonemason. So, buildings... Stonemason, plonk that down here, I suppose, or we want it near the stone, really. We can. We could nestle it in there and hopefully it doesn't cause too much trouble. There we go, built that there. Unlocked a bunch of stone structures for us: wells, roads, walls, ramps, bridges, scaffolds, arches, and benches. But there we go, built it right there, and the job of this is to make stone brick. And then, hey, we'll get a wagon on this job. Deliver stone to the stonemason. And that'll get it done nice and quick, delivering 4 at a time, and then we can have one worker tasked with delivering the brick back to the base. And by the way, the base now has 8 different material slots, which is nice. Though I think if you fill one up, it starts to fill up another, which isn't fantastic. Luckily, we got a bunch of stone, so we'll be able to make plenty of stone brick. We can convert that all very quickly. It looks like people have enough space to move still. Still a bit worried for a second that I might have messed that up. But that all seems to be going fine. And yeah, that guy's just there, delivering the bricks back. So, can we upgrade it yet? No, we need 20, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get that ready. And stone brick is one of the things that can be an intermediate component as well, if we want to do that instead of planks. That said, we got so much wood in the area that we probably want to be using planks for our general good. In fact, let's get some more workers on the task of gathering wood, because I kind of want to clear this forest out, really, and it'd be a waste to delete the resources when we could just gather them and have it all stored up. We could put it in a barn if we have too much of it. It does work out. See, no one's delivering to the barn right now because everyone has a job to deliver to a specific place. If I just told people to gather stuff, they would, I think, just pick the nearest place to deliver to, or there might be a hierarchy system of the base or the barn or whatever. That sort of thing. So are we ready to upgrade? Yes, we are. And there we go. We've increased the number of houses. We've unlocked the school and the general store. It wants us to build the general store next. The general store is basically the food market, but for general goods. So there's a different building for each of the categories of material or of supply. So go to buildings once again. Let's find the general store. There it is. Oh, it takes 10 stone bricks. We'll need a second to build up that supply. We're getting there. That building can only work so fast. We might want to put more people in it or have more buildings working on that. Then again, it seems like we've just got a sudden spike in use of stone brick, and later on we won't need so much, so we can just steadily produce that and be fine later. So yeah, we can build this perhaps right here and have people deliver stuff, because we want to be delivering like planks, so we want it kind of close to the place making planks. So let's get a new worker, and let's get him delivering planks to the general store, and soon we'll probably want to have plank production running again to make sure that's good. Oh, he's not doing anything. Why isn't he? Oh, there's no planks in there. Okay then. Should we get wood being delivered in again? We've now got a fair chunk of wood stored in there, so not too bad an idea. One guy doing it will hopefully not deliver them too quick. That's sort of a problem, is you end up delivering too much of a thing somewhere. Later on, it'll be a lot easier to manage this sort of thing because we can have chutes that like split and stuff. I don't know if splitting is a thing right now. It's perhaps worth checking, because if that is a thing right now, that'd be super useful. Let's try this. If we split off there and send one over that way, it's going to block people moving around. They can't get past the chutes. Now, it seems like the straight line just takes precedence, so it's not a thing. I've got to remove these again so people can carry on walking through here. That's the thing, of later on you'll need to have like paths going over the chutes and stuff like that so people can move around them. And also you'll be able to have the fancier stuff, like later on you get actual conveyor belts is the thing. So that's what we're working towards, and then they can probably go up hills and all that sort of thing. And then they can, you know, change elevation as we like and be above everything and that sort of thing. Now it wants us to earn red coins, so I guess instead of delivering the planks, I mean we can carry on delivering the planks, that's now working. They're being delivered, and now some of the houses are at 2 happiness because they're being supplied with planks as well as food. But we can also get a worker with the task of delivering stone bricks to the general store, because stone bricks generate gold coin, not gold coins, red coins. So we mouse over this here and it shows what kind of coin we get. So there's blue coins as well, and purple coins, as you can see over here. So they have different things that they're spent on. So there we go. We've generated a red coin from somebody selling their stone bricks, or however that works. There we go. And that's another more houses with 2 happiness because they're being supplied with that. And so we're up to 12 happiness now, which will help us with upgrading and things like that. Next thing to build is the thing that brings us towards the end of the tutorial, which is the school. So let's work out where we can put that. We're kind of running out of space in this area we've got. That said, the school doesn't need to be close to anything much really, apart from a supply of wood, which we have. So I'm going to put it maybe across the river, or maybe over here in this nice open area. We can nestle it in here, but I'm going to keep this for production buildings, I think. This is a slightly separate thing. Annoyingly, this giant bit of stone here kind of ruins our ability to have a nice little bridge going across, which is what I was hoping for. We can have one there, but it's not quite the same. It's going to be on a slope there, which we don't want, really. We put it here, then we can have it like facing onto a road that's level with it. So that's unlocked the recipe for paper. But the recipe for paper isn't actually done here, it's done in a lumber mill. So we need to make a second lumber mill, have this overhanging some water, and that'll get it automatically fed with water. So just like right back there. Otherwise we'd have to have a worker tasked with delivering water from the nearest river to the building, which wouldn't take too much, but that's one more worker tied up when workers are a valuable resource. We've only got room for 3 more of them right now. Yeah, now we make paper. That needs wood and water. So let's get, the water's already sorted. Let's get a worker, we'll get 2 workers. In fact, we'll get all 3. We'll have all of the workers we can have. You chop down tree, deliver to lumber mill. I'm just going to have this separately supplied from the other places. And then you deliver paper to the school. And then the paper needs to do, the school needs to do some research. Using the paper, I'm going to research farming. So once you've completed it, we'll have that unlocked. You can press R to open the research menu. 25 paper will get us farming unlocked. At which point I believe the tutorial will end, and that is where I will end the video. So that's what it's telling us to do right now. Take the paper over, and all that. So yeah, initially there's a lot of just people moving stuff around and stuff like that. And there's like people like this guy here who just stands here with. Oh no, he can't do anything anymore because the thing's full. Yep, full of wooden wheels and planks. He's just sat there. I'll leave him for now because if we start taking out wheels later on, he'll just straight away kick back into to delivering. While the research is going, we could upgrade these houses some more because that takes stone brick, and we've got a little bit of that built up now, which unlocks the 3rd tier of supply, which is medicinal stuff of some kind or other. I don't know what is there. Let's see, bandages, potions, salves, and spell books. Okay, and that means that we could have as much as 3 happiness on a home. Oh, this one down here needs planks, and we're apparently out of those. Oops. It's hard to keep everything, all the things balanced early on, but it seems like later on you get a lot more ability to have, I don't know, like the equivalent of Factorio splitters and things like that in the system, I imagine. We shall see. This is going to work anyway, even if everything else is having a struggle. Our food's about to run out, but when we've researched farming, we'll be able to set up a proper farm somewhere. Maybe we'll be able to farm those renewably, or find somewhere else, maybe this bit over here. There's a lot of berry bushes here, which presumably could be farmed as well. Carrots and stuff, that sort of thing. So yeah, happiness is still at 12. We've got some people that are out of things. It's a little bit all over the place. It seems like our food supply is struggling. So that's something we will have to deal with. But let's just get the research done. It's taking a bit of time. Seems like the limitation is the supply of wood, but also if we increase the supply of wood, then it would become the rate at which the thing operates. For some reason this runs at 110% speed, I'm not sure why. Oh, it's happiness! The more happy people are, the faster things run. That's nice. That's definitely helpful. So yeah, there's a lot of incentives to keeping everyone happy, just in general, rather than just when you want to upgrade things. Because we can upgrade this again once we have like leather. But for that we need a pasture. Then we start having like farm animals and things. So it's basically like farming Factorio, and then as like it's like a lot of those kind of games where it's city building and survival in a sort of medieval-y setting, but with this added sort of automation thing that you're starting to see here with the conveyors and the mine carts and stuff like that. There are mine carts, by the way. There are rails. Let's get into the into the menu here. So like there are rails and magic rails and different kinds of conveyor belts that have different purposes, which is interesting. And then there's mine carts, there's drills and boats and stuff like that. That's just all the different tools you can use. And also there's some nice decorative things, just if you want to make the place look nice. And then the buildings, as you saw, there's quite a few of them. It gets quite in-depth. You get to the magical stuff. There's a lot of... like, I'm interested in how the endgame magic elements all work. That's quite something I'm looking forward to. And yeah, these guys have run out of food. So, yeah. Uh-oh. That's a problem for future me, because we're just about to finish the research, and therefore finish the tutorial. And there it is. We've unlocked the farm, the animal pasture, and the medicine because we did that particular research. We can now have that doing more research stuff, and now we can make the farms. Farms will automatically harvest nearby resources and replant them when depleted. Farm tiles, water, and fertilizer will speed crop regrowth speeds. So we'll have to get one of those made very early on next episode, but that's the end of the tutorial. All you gotta do is hit this button, and then it's happy, and it goes away, and we are free to expand as we like. So, I hope that you're finding this interesting. I definitely am. The game comes available on Steam on the 12th of March, so keep an eye out for that. And I'm going to carry on playing this and see sort of how cool it gets when you get to the proper Factorio side of the game. So yeah, this is neat. I like it. This is good. And yeah, I'm the moment I saw it, the moment I'm like, factory towns, I'm in. And I'm glad that I definitely wasn't disappointed, and that it's pretty well polished for what I think is a game coming into early access. So there you go. But anyway, we'll have more of this very soon, as well as many other videos about factory games right now, because it's all happening at the moment. But with that, I should say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.